Alright, so after the battle ensued, Theo formally introduced our new companion, Agir Oslo, to the rest of the party. He then took the Orb of Ramaksoon, his father, and Master Bendu back to Alucardia, and instructed the rest of them to hunt down Varon Von Vile. As they did, the crazy battle ensued back at the monastery, and Tarek ended up dealing the final blow and roasting Varon's, bloody head off. Meanwhile, the rest of them, just tore him apart. Kai did an insane amount of damage, and it was a battle to be seen.
What's going on, everybody? Good to see you all again. Hello, co-creators. Thank you for tuning in to another session of Tales of Dordania. We are very excited again. And last session, you see, we got Kai back. The last session, Kai did, phenomenal, dude. Part-time Kai, guest played by Esther, did a very well job. And, you deal, 4142 damage in a single blow to Varon. And you all had great battle moments throughout. Behemoth, you did lose your left arm pretty much from the elbow.
Rough session.
You had a bit of a rough session. But Varon is defeated. You guys slayed an Alpha freaking Werewolf. He is dead. Tarek with the final blow. Freaking
hours now.
Well, the temple's empty. The temple is empty. It is not under any other control. You liberated it from the werewolves.
What was his name? The old guy, his mentor.
Master Bendu.
That's it, Bendu. Yeah. Did he go back with... He went back with
Theo because he was all messed up.
Okay, so when we go back, we can inform him, your temple's empty, you're free to go, man.
Well, first off, it's about 8:30 at night after this battle has kind of completed, okay? You guys are all just kind of right in the front kind of entry of the monastery, kind of right in the courtyard.
Long rest.
What do y'all want to do? Go ahead. What do you want to do?
I'll take first watch.
A perception check?
I will. I already thought about it. I learned from last time, okay? I learned from last time. So yeah, no, I got this. If y'all trust me, I'll take first watch.
I call sleeping in the most protected part of the tent.
That's fine. Okay.
So no,
I want to know just story-wise.
Yeah.
So we kill him.
Where's my buddy?
Where's his friend? And is that?
Oh no.
Killing the
ex-friend.
Does killing the alpha?
What's his name?
You don't know?
That's
Gotta ask Theo. Gotta ask or somebody else. Gotta find somebody who knows these things. These are questions that have not been asked yet. And I don't want to reveal too much yet. It's just the nice DM that I am. Things to be revealed in the story. Where Kobayashi ran off to. Now, last time we also Kobayashi was when we were first leaving the monastery, and he dipped, and Behemoth tried throwing his hammer
That's
at
why I
him.
didn't write it down.
Barely missed.
Spell that. Spell Kobayashi.
Kobe.
See, now you're...
A-S-H-I.
Sounds good.
Kobayashi. I was like, when I asked myself, how do I spell this?
Right?
Kobe? And then I was like,
sounds good.
That's easy. That's an easy spelling.
Okay.
So you got last time you saw Kobayashi, and he was headed, if you have your map, Tarek.
He does. Show it to the camera, please. Just for fun.
Flash
the camera. Map.
Dun 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 dun. Oh yeah, lean into the camera. Show it off. Oh yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Look at Tiffany from The Price is Right. We got a little bit of hair, but it's all good. Now, if you guys remember, this is where you currently are at the monastery, wrapped around here. That's where Aramaka told you guys the monastery was, and that's where you currently are. When you saw Kobayashi last, he was hightailing it through the woods in this direction.
Let's go that way.
Just saying. Okay? Now, that's where Kobayashi was headed off to.
I'm still mad about my loot.
I
don't know who Kobayashi is. But you do not know what happens as far as werewolf lineage. You don't know if it's the same as vampiric lineage, as far as, once alphas are gone, that's it. No more true bloods can be made, and that no more alphas can be acquired either. You're not sure if it's, if there's any true bloods remaining, does he become the new alpha? You're not sure yet. Gotta ask the question from somebody else.
Gotcha.
Matt, for you, sir. Okay, Behemoth, you were taking first watch. Anyone else like to take first watch with?
Yeah, me.
Ozzy's gonna take first watch with. Okay, first watch with. Okay. Tarek, Kai,
I'm sorry. What
into
was
the
your name
tent,
again?
get some shut-eye.
You call me Ozzy.
Give me that NyQuil.
Ozzy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me that NyQuil.
It's hard to pronounce my first name.
Ajir?
Ozzy Osbourne.
Agir.
Agir. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I can say that.
Okay, then you can
You
say
have to roll it off your tongue though. Egil.
Yeah, Agir.
You know, I'm a mechanic. Agir.
Yeah, Agir. I'm just gonna call you Ozzy. Agir.
I mean, I can do either one. Agir, Ozzy. I'll call you whatever.
And as you guys are trying to figure out Ozzy's name,
I'm just like, there's a new
you
guy.
all get into the tent.
You remind me of this little green motherfucker.
Hey!
You guys hit the head. Tarek, real quick, make an intelligence saving throw. And then Behemoth and Ozzy, what would you guys like to do?
I want a perception.
Hey! People learn the lessons!
Do I get my...
You're drifting off into sleep, Tarek, and you're feeling not only pretty good about this mission at hand, but about your killing blow to Varon, and the fact that you use your kind of tree form. You're feeling pretty solid. And as you go to sleep, you feel very, very nice and peaceful. However, you can't tell how far into your sleep, but it's maybe been about a half hour or so. You start kind of stirring in your sleep a little bit, and you start dreaming. And in your dreams, you're literally chained up, to a wall. And it seems like you're in the land of law, again, back home, kind of in the high capital city, where all the high elves kind of rank and reign. And you seem to be chained to a wall, and Abaddon is literally not inside you anymore, and he is just wrecking people left and right. He's killing some of the High Elf Council, he's killing civilians, he's just murking people, and you're kind of on like a hillside, pretty much chained up, just like being forced to watch all this kind of destruction. And you're not sleeping too great, and you, in this kind of dream, you're like, I know this is a dream, but like what, like you're trying to gather, get your bearings, see if like this is a vision type thing, or if this is just purely a dream, and you're not quite sure. It feels very, very real. So you're kind of in cold sweats, kind of having a rough time sleeping.
Really wishing for one of those Behemoth songs to put him to sleep.
Wishing for the loot to be strong.
For real. Y'all.
I got a 14.
Okay.
Yo, give me credit about it. I have 15 actually.
Nah, there you go. One up, yeah. What are you guys looking for? Anything specific?
Any threat.
Okay. And then for you?
Nutshell, just any threat.
Anything interesting?
Okay.
And as Tarek continues to have some hellish nightmares about this potential future that could happen, we go back to Ozzy and Behemoth, and they do a good job of taking first watch and protecting the crew overnight and making sure that they are very safe, and also taking the opportunity to learn a bit about each other. And Ozzy explains that he is a sailor who desires to sail the seven seas. I'm just kidding, there are no seven seas in Dordania, but he desires to sail the sea, kind of rule it actually, and make it his own, and have the freedom to do as he pleases and gain the riches that he desires. And he actually knows Theo from a couple years back and aided Theo on a voyage across the oceans because vampires do not like water. And recently he actually lost his ship and his crew to a crazy storm and a monstrosity that rose up out of the ocean and destroyed everything. And before his ship went under, he was able to locate his sending stone, call for aid for Theo, and Theo was able to locate him before he perished. He is now kind of in debt to Theo, and Theo has, paired him up with the rest of the crew to kind of help them on their missions and finding out these different things. And so they do a good job, and he explains all this kind of good stuff. And the next morning, Behemoth makes a great breakfast for everybody, and they all kind of get their bearings before they make this quest back home. And Tarek is inquiring about a new bit of armor because his armor class is very weak. He is at a 9 right now, and with everything going on with the Soul Shard, Abaddon, and his new tree form and everything else, he needs some new armor stat. And Kai is actually inquiring about some stuff going on at the monastery and seeing if he can locate or discover anything new about the runes.
But here's my thing. I was fighting with those wolves, and one dug right at.
He did.
So I need something to protect that. Otherwise, I'm going to end up chained to a fucking hill watching.
Watching destruction and demise. It was bad.
So
As Tarek then enters into the woods to try to find some oak armor, we go to the monastery where Kai, through some new meditation, has located a crate buried underneath the monastery. And with the help of Behemoth, they have broken through the floor, recovered the crate, busted it open, and inside is a very old book and some leather-bound, wrappings and cloth. And they're bickering over whose book this belongs to now.
At this point, I'm going to take the upper road. I'm going to walk away with the book.
Oh, he starts walking out of the monastery. Kai, you're gonna make a move. This is yours. This is your book.
You should be here at this point.
No one found this for you.
Alright, I'll just stop. I'm gonna walk out here with him. Just for a second. Once we get out the front door, I'm gonna stand.
Okay, you guys both walk out the front door. You guys are both out the front door. Could you move characters around to the front door? Behemoth is kind of feeling very, very proud of himself and very victorious in the fact that he does have the book in his hand, and he didn't even think he was going to get one because he was sleeping about 10 minutes ago.
Hey, yo, Mr. Elfman, my boy.
I'm telling Dad.
Yeah, my brother. Well, because you're smart and you know how to handle this.
Ooh.
Alright. So,
Yeah, handle this.
As they exit, Kai calls out the terror.
So I'm explaining it. Alright. So I was in there meditating, trying to find something that could help the team, alright? Meditating, got some thermal sense, I hope you know what that means. Saw something thermal in the ground. Asked my friend here to open it for me, right? As a good deed. So we couldn't get the crate open, so I opened the crate. And then he saw there was a book in it and just took the book. But it's a monk's book, so I thought, maybe since it's a monk book, it could help me out to help you guys out, but he won't give me the book. And I offered him an ox horn since he lost his loot, but he's just not giving me the book. So now we're getting heated, and I want to smack him with Kevin. It's like, help me out here.
Behemoth listens. Just
And now you know,
quietly.
as you know, from the Alpha Wolf, this thing does some damage. So I'm not trying to get here. So can you help me solve this out, man?
So it's for the team,
Yes.
not for you.
Yes. Well, I hope, but he won't tell me the title. He's just saying it's
Well,
mine.
he hasn't read it yet.
Yeah.
Right,
It's for the team, right?
right.
And so we're not going to take a whole lot of time here. Are you going to read it right this very second?
Probably.
Are you hoarding it?
How with your blind eyes?
We don't.
Perception.
As Behemoth calls this out.
Well, okay. Well, one, you haven't opened the book, so maybe you can't even see it.
Well, maybe I can't, but I know he can't.
You don't know that?
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. But at the same time, what's the difference? If we're all on the same team, then what's the difference that I hang on to the book?
Because it's a monk book.
But you're already reading your book. So can I?
So you want to hang on to it because you're a monkey?
So okay. So let me have your animal handling book then, right now.
Okay.
Give it to me.
I'll trade you.
For what? No, you don't need the book. It's for the team, right? It's for the team, and it's not yours. It's not theirs. So let me have it then.
No, exactly. That's what I'll trade you. I'll trade you the book that he wants for my animal handling book. I'm going to keep my animal handling, and I'm going to share that with the rest of you.
Well,
But I'm also.
that wasn't my point. So let's
Well, my point is, I'm going to share it with you all in the first place. What does it matter if I'm hanging on to the book? The blind man can't freaking read it.
Okay,
At least as far as I can tell.
Okay, well, stop. First, let's stop with the blind man stuff.
Maybe I can read it.
Ooh, true. I like this.
Because one, you don't know what he can read. He's a monk. Maybe it's done by osmosis. The fact of the matter is that we're here together. We should stop fighting. I'll separate
I'm
the
not.
two.
Well, quit fighting. Quit stabbing me in the foot. That's fine.
So you're pissed off because you got woke up out of your sleep.
I
This is essentially what we're getting at, is that you don't want to give him the book because he poked you in the foot.
no.
Okay.
I don't want to give him the book because I don't see what purpose he has in having it.
Well, what purpose do you have in having it?
More than he has because
How
I
do you
can at
know?
least read words.
How do you know?
If I'm in my thermal state, maybe I can feel the numbers and they.
How do you know there are words? No
I
one's
don't know
opened
this. I'm only
So
throwing
how are
out
you assuming?
But that's exactly what I was, why don't we just, as a group, open the book and see what it is we have?
That's a great idea. I love that idea. Let's do that.
Open it!
And let's stop talking about blind people and poking in the foot and no arms, because we all got our issues. I got a demon fucking inside of me.
Right?
So,
And you all call me short and one-handed.
but we still love you. We still love you.
Obviously.
So after much deliberation about this book, our companions realize that they need to put their differences aside and that they are all friends and that there is a grander purpose to be held, and that is what is actually inside this book. And as Tarek reveals and unwraps it, he reads that it seems that this is the journal of the first elder monk. And he actually begins to read a passage as he opens the first page.
Reads kind of date. Master Maksumu, we have just entered and reclaimed the monastery from the orc armies of the land of Shattered Ash. There's still much uncertainty throughout this land and this realm as a whole. For safekeeping, the monks have decided, along with some of the angels, high elves, and vampiric warlords, decided it'd be best if the monks kept watch and kept the monastery under protection, along with the relic that was so important to the orcs, the orb of Ramaksun, their warlock leader, or rather their god, as the orcs worshipped him. We find it best to keep here and hidden from all knowledge and existence. My hope is, as the generations come to pass, the orb of Ramaksun will be nothing more than a myth, and we can finally put all of this behind us. However, I fear that this first battle, this first age, is only beginning of turmoil for this realm of Dordania. I hope to only have to share this information with the elder monks among my passing, but if I need to continue more, I will write it upon this journal. And that's just what's in the first 2 pages.
I love being asleep while this is happening.
So Terry kind of says all this kind of stuff. You guys all kind of learn a little bit more about some different things and about when the monks kind of first took to the monastery. Would you like to keep reading, Terry?
I think that I should put this in the bag of holding because I think it's an important piece. And not that I'm taking it from you. You can't read it anyways because it's not Braille.
And I'm not taking it from any of you. It's a team effort.
I believe that Theo would really love to listen to or read this, so we should all take it to him. But I think it'll be safer in the bag of holding instead of just whatever.
Sounds good.
Is that okay with the two of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, can I go back to sleep now and quit smashing my foot when I watch it for you while you sleep?
Yeah.
Alright, sounds good. I'm going to sleep.
And Behemoth, after hearing this information, crawls back into the tent to catch some Z's with Ozzy. Kai,
What do I call this book? Just the book of the
book of the monk as far as
Monk's journal.
Monk journal.
That's a good idea.
Kai, upon you hearing all of this information, Master Bendu and none of the other elder teachers ever mentioned any of this to you or any of the other students to your knowledge.
Okay.
That they were put here after some great battle or some great war or the first age of something, and you're learning a little bit more about how this orb of Ramaksun, and Ramaksun was actually a person.
And after learning this information, Kai goes into a bit of a meditative state as he's trying to just process everything that he has just learned. And Tarek then is actually hailed by Theo via Sending Stone, and Theo informs him that he has a plan to not only teleport the entire party out of High Oak Forest back to Alucardia, but to also teleport the monastery itself in its entirety as well. And he needs Kai's help to do this. And so Tarek and Kai enter into the monastery, and upon Theo's instruction, Kai cuts into his palm and draws with his own blood, because he is half human, an eye, literally an eye, on one of the walls of the monastery. And upon doing so, Theo then informs them that the ritual will begin and it'll take 10 minutes for the spell to complete. And they all need to be inside the monastery before the 10-minute time span is up, because then the spell will take effect. Tarek asks if he has enough time to rush out and try to harvest some high oak so he can make some armor when he comes back to Alucardia. And Theo informs him probably not the best move at the moment, saying that they are on a time crunch and the ritual for the spell has begun, but Tereg goes for it anyways and rushes out to try to harvest some high oak root. And he does not make it back quite in time. And as everyone else is in the monastery calling out for Tereg's name, and as he's running to the front door, the time is up and the spell takes place, and the entire monastery and everyone else is teleported from High Oak Forest back to Alucardia, but Tereg was caught in the magical energy outside of the monastery during the transition.
As this all happens, and you three feel literally being almost condensed into like a grain of sand and then getting expanded into like the size of an elephant, okay, all simultaneously. And this happens quick. It's not like it's like this whole process is happening for hours or anything like that. It's like under 10 seconds like this all happens, okay? You three all feel almost like you're kind of thrown across the room as you kind of emerge. And boom, boom, boom. You guys all kind of land, hands and knees, everything like that. Behemoth, what did you get? Again? 7, okay. Behemoth, you are literally puking your guts out from
As you
this
hear
whole experience happening.
As you hear this really heinous scream, ah! As I was ripped through.
You take 3 necrotic damage.
Oh, damn.
Okay. And also, Behemoth, you cannot walk straight for 1 hour.
How long is that in real time?
Call me blind.
Depends on what we do here after this. I'll get that in a second, okay? But you're very dizzy. Like you're insanely, like it hurt coming through that.
It hurt bad.
Kai, what did you get again?
14.
Okay. Kai, as you kind of land, take 2 bludgeoning damage from just kind of like almost re-hitting the floor. You're feeling pretty strong in the gut. You're not necessarily puking like you're hearing Behemoth, your brother from your fist bump. Getting like kind of almost re-emerged into the room. You're just kind of like, what the fuck happened? And also just the strain on your body too. You're just kind of like, what the fuck was that shit? And you're very uncertain of where the fuck you are, what the fuck just happened. You've never felt anything like that. You're not even sure if like, you're still technically living. Okay? Ozzy, what'd you get?
9.
Okay, you're puking again too. It's bad, bro. It's not so good, Z's. You're throwing up there, and 8 necrotic damage from you, my friend.
And so upon re-emerging back into Alucardia and taking their damages and realizing that Behemoth and Ozzy are both very sick from this teleportation, Kai is trying to figure out if Tereg is outside, if he's there, but again, Kai is blind, so this makes it a little more difficult and tricky. Tereg was trying to throw a thorn whip out to the door that they could maybe try to grab and then pull him through the archway before the spell was able to take effect. However, that did not work, so Kai's trying to, feeling around the entrance, and he does feel this vine that Tereg threw out to try to, get pulled into the monastery with. And as he tries to pull on it, the vine snaps. So he then exits the monastery to go check on Tereg and see what's going on. And Tereg is burnt to a crisp. Literally, to the touch, it feels just like ashy wood as it's very brittle and just kind of crumbling underneath the fingers as Kai's trying to, roll Tereg over onto his back. And as he does, he's kind of looking him over and seeing just how much damage Tereg took from being caught in the magical energy field of the entire monastery getting teleported back to Alucardia.
As you're kind of reaching around and kind of grabbing around, the roots and kind of, trying to check on, Terry kind of roll him over, so he's on his back at least. Everywhere you touch on his tree kind of form, it's very brittle. It's like you touch it and like you just feel parts of his skin, his whatever you're grabbing onto, just like crumbling into like ash, pretty much just to dust as you're like touching it. And as you're trying to roll him over and kind of push him over and stuff, you can tell he ain't doing good.
Okay.
He ain't doing good. His body, seems to be mostly intact. As you roll him over to his back, you see this obsidian shard has a crack in it.
Okay, alright, so I know what that shard is, right? Because you told me all of this?
Oh yeah.
Right,
you know what that shard does, and you know why that's very crucial and important.
So I'm gonna trust him, because He has his arm chopped off. I think he's okay with puking.
I told you.
You've gotten seasick before, so I think he's okay with puking. I'm gonna pick this dude up. Is he like in his normal body form?
No, he's in his tree form. He's like in his tree
I'm
form.
pretty
His tree
heavy.
form's fucked up.
And listen to what he's saying, is that when you touch me, I disintegrate.
Just stop judging him.
Alright, I'm gonna just run until I get Theo.
Not bad.
Wait, does he have that phone thing on him?
But it's only attached
It's only attuned to him.
You can go, okay, so think about
Good questions. Good
Good
questions.
questions. You can go back and
Way to think. Way to think.
although Behemoth is
Your insight.
$20, not that.
Okay. As you realize, like, this is just fucking shit, this whole situation. Everyone's puking around you. You just kind of take a step back. You go into the middle of the monastery again, where you first had your kind of big, vision of finding the book and everything. And you just start meditating again. And you're just trying to figure out what is the best possible answer, what you need to do in the situation. Because you're the only one who really can do anything. You know that Theo's not answering. He brought you guys back home. You all at least aren't in any immediate danger from any enemies or anything like that. Your friends, Theo knows he brought here. Even though Theo himself isn't responding, he's probably sending somebody to come check on you guys or to check on the monster itself, meaning that it is of great importance. You start weighing the options in your head and you feel the best route is for you to leave your friends, run as fast as you can into the city, into Castle Mars, find help either along the way that's making its way to the monastery from Theo, or to run into town, find some of Theo's guards, tell them who you are, and get the help that you need. Getting help! Don't die! And you just start running. And you're headed back to Alucardia, to Castle Mars, to get help.
Okay.
And that is where we will end the session for tonight. So thank you guys all so much for tuning in to another session, episode of Tales of Dordania. We have a lot of craziness happening here. The crew is back in Alucardia. The monastery itself has been transported there as well. However, we're not sure what's going on with Terig. Our other two companions are very, very sick from this teleportation method
missing an
that
arm.
Theo had to use. Behemoth is still missing an arm and now puking, unfortunately, too. And Kai is doing whatever he can to run back, take whatever strength he has left to get to Castle Mars, find Theo, get help for his companions to save their lives, as they're all doing pretty rough. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you on the next one.